Okay guys, this is about the 54th take on this. Welcome to another episode of On Point Adventures. And why have we tried so many times to record this? Because the rain is simply not letting up. That's why we're back in the shed today, because still in Western Australia, we are needing to build Noah's Ark because the rain is not stopping. But today I'm super excited to bring this rig to you. It's a rig we've been trying to perfect over the past couple of months, and now we believe we've got it to a point where it's getting constant success. It's a rig that not only fishes whilst the bait is in the water, but once the bait is stolen and you're retrieving, this rig is still fishing and catching new fish. How does it do that? Well, you'll have to wait to the end of the episode until I've finished the rig so I can show you exactly how it works. And trust me, you're going to be as excited as I am. What are we going to need for this rig just quickly? We're going to need some 80-pound leader, some 40-pound leader, one tri-crane swivel, a pair of braid scissors or any scissors, some good quality hooks, because these are the sticking points. So I'm using Owner SSW, one circle and one suicide style hook in 7/0, and the circle is an 8/0. It's very important. I use Owner because they are Japanese built hooks, super sharp, and they last. Not like a lot of the Chinese hooks, even the most popular Chinese hook on the market at the moment, the Owners will outdo them. And that's just from a lot of time on the water. I've worked that out. We're going to need these, which is Willie's power bait clips, which actually are a sinker clip. We're going to need the Vexed Jingle Dangle. Now these are the new Dingle Dangles with the rattle in them, okay? And I'm using the 6.5 centimetre ones for this one. We're going to be using a squid skirt. This is an Ocean's Legacy squid skirt in the 15 centimetres, and the mackerel colour, that's the colour I've had the best success with. And here, some rub-on scent. Now I use the Gulp gel. It just tends to hold on a lot tighter, and I'll tell you why we use that at the end of the rig as well. So first we're going to start with the hook line, okay? The hook line I've got here is roughly 1.8 metres long. So, or a full arm width if you like. We're going to start with the bottom hook, which is our 7/0 suicide hook, okay? That's going to be the hook we're going to put on the bottom. We're just going to tie that up with a uni knot, okay? 3-turn uni, that's all you need. I've lubricated this up because not only is this rig for tuitional purposes, but I'm going to use it. And then we cut it off so we've got a nice small tag end. Now, the snell we're going to tie today is called a silly snell. I'm going to show you how to tie the silly snell, don't worry, and we'll also do a separate video on this. But essentially what I like to do with this, as it's going to be a drone rig for me, and you can use this as drone or mulloway rigs in the surf, just shorten your leaders to suit. I like a big gap in between first and second hook there, and the reason is because then you can use fillet baits as well as chunk baits, okay? Chunk baits, you want to present your hooks on either side of the bait. So we go up through the back of the hook, okay? And then all we do is we get our tag line here, we pull it down, and then we wrap it around under that eye, okay? And we're going to wrap that around the hook as many times as you wish. So as you can see there, we've wrapped it around. I'm sorry we're on a GoPro, so it probably won't be too clear. Then what we're going to do, we're going to come back up with the end of the tag end, straight back up through the back of that hook, and all we're going to do is simply just pull it. And as you can see there, we have a snell. That's as simple as it gets. I call it the silly snell because it is so easy to tie. Now, we get to the tri-crane swivel. Now, usually on a tri-crane swivel, we'd tie the sinker off to the bottom of it and we'd tie the hooks on the side. But we're going to do the opposite this time. We're going to be having our hooks on the main line goes to there from your rod, and your hook line is going to come off the bottom of the tri-crane. That's important on this rig, okay? That's very important. And all we're going to do to the bottom of that is just tie a uni knot. Now what I will do at the end of this as well, guys, is I will have a small diagram drawn up of the rig in full. I'll put that at the end of the video, just in case you're not following on this. But keep in mind, with the beauty of YouTube and the beauty of the internet, we can pause videos whenever we want and slow them down. So once again, that's all tied off, just a uni knot onto that. Now remember, we don't need to do anything to the top of this swivel here because that there is going to our main line. So now we've done that, we're going to get our short length of 40 pound. Now this is to our sinker, and I'm only fishing a short sinker line. Now, this is going to keep the rig far more tangle free and far less likely to get snagged on the bottom, because when we're retrieving, instead of having that gigantic 3 metre sinker line that most droners use, we've only got 40, 50 centimetres, which means the angle of the rod pulling your bait, there's less sinker dangling down below, less chance of getting snagged. I think that is fairly self-explanatory. So all we're going to do onto the bottom there is tie our sinker line. 1, 2, 3. Turn uni. Oh, I'm hurrying up because this rain is going to spoil the audio again. And I don't really want the 936th take. So now we've got our short sinker line coming off that side bit of the swivel. We're just going to get one of Willie's power clips here. Now the way these power clips work for you surf fishermen is that this hook coming off the side always faces down towards your sinker. So that makes it very easy to follow. When you thread your sinker onto this, you put the eye of your sinker over that downward turn hook, you thread it up around, and then it'll go down into the bottom of that little crevice there. And this becomes your casting clip right here, okay? So I'll just tie that on quickly with a uni knot as well. And there we have it. It's done right there. So we have our clip tied on with a uni knot. So now we can forget about that part of the rig. And this is where the difference of this rig and the magic happens. We get our squid skirt, and what we do is we trim his nose off and we make a tiny little hole in the top there, okay? We then get our dingle dangles. I'll just get one out of here. Now the reason I open the dingle dangles like this is because I like keeping them in the packet. Okay, so here's our jingle dangle. Now we need to insert this into the squid. How are we going to do that? Somewhere on the bench here I've got a small piece of 80 pound. I'm going to go through the eye of the jingle dangle here. So not the casting clip there, the actual eye of the Dacron. So I go through it like that. Okay, I've got a double. What I'm going to do is I've got both of my doubled ends pinched together like that, and we're going to go straight up through that ocky skirt or squid skirt through the top. So see those lines poking out there? Right, so now all we need to do is pull this up. Now when we pull this up, we need to make sure that none of these legs get tangled. So the best way to do that is to flip your squid on the head like that, so all the tangles fall out, or tentacles fall out like a waterfall if you wish, and we just pull. And as you can see now, that dingle dangle is about to insert into the squid's head. Bang, like that. So now we have a squid with a hidden dingle dangle. Now the best thing about this now is we can pull that as hard as we can, and we get our little Dacron loop pop out there, squeeze the head so nothing retracts, and then put your hook through that little Dacron loop, okay? So your bottom hook now has a jingle dangle and a squid on it. Now here we go, guys. The rig is made, but what made this rig so special? It's simply that. When you have a bait on the bottom, okay, this is the first benefit of having this jingle dangle rig like this. We've now got buoyancy, so that's going to lift the rig up off the bottom, okay, which means these hooks are not burying themselves in weed. But the best bit is, whilst that bait is sitting there nice and proud like that, we now have what looks to a fish like a squid, nose down on the hook for extra attractant. And with all that silver fleck through that beautiful Ocean's Legacy skirt, it's attracting fish. But I also said that this would work on the retrieve, and it does, especially those guys fishing electric reels. But I will explain why it works exceptionally well on spin and overhead as well. When you're retrieving this rig now, you've now got a squid that's trailing behind, which acts as a lure for anything from tailor to snapper. I'm telling you now, we've got good snapper on this, on the retrieve. That's what makes it so exciting. So on an electric, that's going to be retrieving very quickly through the water straight. But on a spin reel, as we know, when we're pumping and dropping that rod like that, this squid is now going down and hoisting, down and hoisting. And we are now getting what looks like a squid darting down and lifting back up, darting down and lifting back up the whole way back in. And I'm telling you, there's not a fish in the ocean that can really resist that. Because of the buoyancy of that jingle dangle in there, it means that is sitting very proud the whole time and staying off the back of the hook. So you can imagine a snapper or anything comes straight in for the strike and bang there on that suicide hook. Why do we have the gulp gel? Well, because I don't mind whacking a bit of scent on stuff. So by simply just opening up that skirt before you cast or send a drone and wipe some of that gel all the way around that jingle dangle, this foam on the Vex jingle dangle really accepts scent well. And it means that this is smelling good even the whole way in, because that will leave a scent trail through the water as you're retrieving as fast as you can. Now guys, I'm sure you can now see why I am so excited about this rig. So let's just start from the top, tri-crane swivel, down to your sinker clip. And keep in mind guys, there's two ways to hook your drone up to this. One off the sinker clip, or you can hook up to the bottom of that jingle dangle there. That goes straight onto your line, or onto your dropper loop of your drone, and away you go. So as I said, we've got tri-crane swivel, down to our sinker clip, 1.8 meters a leader, and down to the business end. This here is the absolute business, guys. That's the end that catches the fish and holds on damn tight. How good. All right, guys, that's all from us here. I'll quickly put that diagram up for you, but I hope you're as excited as I am about this rig, because this rig catches fish, and this will help you outfish anyone else on the beach. All right, until the next episode, thanks very much for watching. If you don't mind, hit that subscribe button. It doesn't cost you anything, but helps me out massively. Catch you on the next episode.